Democrats in the media are now unloading all their nasty attacks on rising Trump White House star and new press secretary, Karoline Leavitt. Watch this.
The drama surrounding Karoline Leavitt's lawsuit against The View has become a defining media showdown of 2025. One that has captured the attention of not only political pundits but also millions of ordinary Americans tuning in to see if mainstream media can finally be held accountable. With an $800 million defamation lawsuit, leaked emails, panicked executives, and a viral on-air backpedal, this legal and cultural saga isn't just about Karoline Leavitt. It's about a shift in power from corporate media to those they once dismissed as easy targets. It all began with mockery. When Karoline Leavitt first announced her intention to sue The View for defamation, hosts Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, and Sunny Hostin waved it off with smug laughter and snide remarks. Whoopi rolled her eyes and muttered that the lawsuit would vanish by next week. Joy called it a conservative PR stunt.
Is saying she got the job based on looks when DEI is all about based on looks?
Sunny, the panel's legal expert, claimed it had no legs and wouldn't survive a hearing. The audience laughed along, and it seemed like business as usual, until it wasn't. What no one anticipated was that Karoline wasn't bluffing. She wasn't posturing for headlines or building a personal brand. She was building a case, with receipts. While The View cracked jokes, her legal team worked tirelessly behind the scenes, compiling not only aired segments but also internal communications, archived footage, planning notes, and more. This wasn't just a defamation case. It was a character assassination claim built on allegedly orchestrated, deliberate attacks meant to discredit and humiliate. Then came the internal leaks. Slack messages and planning memos surfaced, allegedly showing intent to corner Karoline on air. One note advised Joy to press her hard on the youth angle, and another suggested they'd get her flustered by bringing up Trump. The strategy: let her dig her own grave. These weren't off-the-cuff quips made in the heat of live TV. They were premeditated. As this information came to light, panic set in at ABC. Executives who had once confidently predicted the story would blow over were now on damage control calls, bringing in top-tier legal teams, delaying vacations, and initiating internal document reviews. Legal assistants were rummaging through storage, junior producers were calling attorneys, and editors were pulling raw footage to assess the risk. And the kicker? Discovery, the legal phase requiring both sides to hand over all relevant material, hadn't even started yet. Internally, ABC was reeling. Emails surfaced suggesting prior concerns from staff about how conservative women were being treated during interviews. One HR memo warned of a pattern of strategic tension creation.
They just paid $15 million to President Trump's future library. That's a great thing for the American people. These women are completely out of touch with reality. And you're right, ABC should wake up.
These weren't isolated incidents. They were signs that this kind of conduct may have been the norm rather than the exception. And while ABC's legal and PR teams tried to strategize a way out, Karoline said nothing. No Twitter rants. No press conferences. Just calm silence, allowing the facts to speak louder than outrage. Her team issued one chilling line: "We are moving forward as planned." Things came to a head during an emergency meeting at ABC, where Whoopi reportedly stormed in, furious about the idea of a payout settlement. "We're making her look like a hero," she snapped. Joy Behar backed her up, insisting that they had carried the network through political chaos and didn't deserve to be folded over one lawsuit. But Sunny Hostin, the group's legal anchor, simply laid the printed lawsuit on the table and confirmed, she has enough to go to court. The next day's episode of The View was unlike any other. Gone were the snarky jokes and fast-paced jabs. The set was quiet, and the tone somber. Whoopi opened the show with a brief monologue: "Maybe we need to take a step back." Joy's voice cracked as she asked, "Can't we just talk?" Sunny made a direct appeal to Karoline, asking if there might be a better way forward. But to viewers, the shift in tone wasn't seen as humility, it was seen as fear. Within hours, the internet exploded. Clips of The View's hosts previously mocking Karoline were compared side by side with their new pleas for peace. Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, every platform lit up with analysis, memes, and mockery. One viral meme depicted Whoopi as the captain of a sinking ship. Another showed Joy clutching a legal binder with the caption, "When the roast session becomes a deposition." But through it all, Karoline stayed silent. No gloating. No triumphant media tour. Just legal preparation, witness interviews, and document reviews. It became clear, This wasn't about optics, it was about justice. And the public noticed. In fact, public perception swung in her favor. Even those outside of conservative circles began to see the issue not as partisan, but as a case study in accountability. Media personalities, regardless of their political affiliation, should be held responsible for what they say on air, especially if it's damaging to someone's character or career. ABC's internal damage was just as severe as its public one. Advertisers began pulling contracts. Show staff started scrubbing old messages and updating resumes. Some executives even floated the idea of rebranding or canceling The View altogether. Internally, meeting subjects bore ominous titles like reputational risk escalation and contingency strategy, View. And still, Karoline didn't flinch. The cultural moment escalated even further when The View's tone-deaf response to wokeness resurfaced. Whoopi's lecture about how wokeness made it possible for women like Karoline to have jobs struck many as disingenuous, especially when juxtaposed with a very real and coordinated effort to discredit her on national television. Instead of championing another young woman, The View had mocked, cornered, and dismissed her. As the lawsuit gained traction, conservatives hailed Karoline as a hero. Liberals remained divided, some siding with The View out of loyalty, others quietly admitting the show had crossed a line. Centrists and independents, meanwhile, were appalled at the coordinated mockery and turned off by the hypocrisy. Karoline, once a relatively unknown figure to mainstream America, had become a symbol of calm resistance, strategic retaliation, and quiet strength. This isn't just about one woman's lawsuit. It's about setting a precedent. What happens when a daytime talk show, one that markets itself as a progressive, truth-seeking platform, uses its reach to slander and belittle? What happens when its hosts forget that power comes with responsibility? Karoline's lawsuit could reshape daytime television, media training protocols, and how shows prepare for guests, particularly those with opposing political views. It may force outlets like ABC to reconsider the fine line between commentary and character assassination. If successful, the case could redefine legal boundaries in the infotainment space, where punditry often masks itself as lighthearted banter. And perhaps most importantly, it could empower others who've been bullied, silenced, or mocked by media giants to stand up and say, "Enough. Now it's your turn." Do you think The View crossed the line? Was Karoline Leavitt right to pursue legal action? Should talk shows be held accountable for what they say about guests on air? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're following this incredible media moment, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss another story where truth takes center stage. Because this drama is far from over.